Hare Krishna. Welcome again to our evening katha. Today we decided to go to one of my favorite places, Barsana, and we'll go around the Prikrama path and hear so many wonderful pastimes. So we hope all of you are safe and using this time to increase your sadhana by hearing and chanting more, and every evening at least you're hearing these wonderful pastimes. So today we're going to, whenever we go to Barsana, there's a special song we always sing. So we'll sing that song today. Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Krishna, Krishna, Jai Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna, Bolo Jai Krishna, Krishna, Jai Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna. Shama Gauri, Nitya Kishori, Pritam Jori, Sri Radhe, Bolo Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe. Rasika Rasilo, Chela Chabilo, Gunagara Bilo, Sri Krishna, Bolo Jai Krishna, Krishna, Jai Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna. Rasa Biharini, Rasa Biharini, Piya Uradharani, Sri Radhe, Bolo Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe. Navavarangi, Navalatri Bangi, Shamasu Angi, Sri Krishna, Bolo Jai Krishna, Krishna, Jai Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna. Prana Piyari, Rupa Ujari, Ati Sukumari, Sri Radhe, Bolo Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe. Naina Manohara Murakara Sundaravatara Bara Sri Krishna, Bolo Jai Krishna, Krishna, Jai Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna. Shobha Sreni Mohameni Kokilaveni, Sri Radhe, Bolo Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe. Kirati Vanda Kamini Kanda, Sri Bhagavanta, Sri Krishna, Bolo Jai Krishna, Krishna, Jai Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna. Chandavadani Kundara Radhani, Shobha Sadhani, Sri Radhe, Bolo Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe. Parama Udara, Prabha Apara, Ati Sukumara, Sri Krishna, Bolo Jai Krishna, Krishna, Jai Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna. Hansa Gamani, Rajatara Ramani, Krida Kamani, Sri Radhe, Bolo Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe. Rupa Rasala, Nayana Bishala, Parama Kripala, Sri Krishna, Bolo Jai Krishna, Krishna, Jai Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna. Ramani Ramya, Tarutara Tamya, Guna Agamya, Sri Radhe, Bolo Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe. Dhamma Nivasi Prabha Prakasi Sahaja Suhasi Sri Krishna Bolo Jai Krishna Jai Krishna Krishna Jai Krishna Jai Sri Krishna Shaktiya Larini Ati Priya Varini Uru Unmarini Sri Radhe Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Radhe Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Sri Radhe Anga Anga Tona Sarasa Salona Subhaga Sutona Sri Krishna Bolo Jai Krishna Jai Krishna Krishna Jai Krishna Jai Sri Krishna Radha Namini Guna Abhiramini Hari Priya Swamini Sri Radhe Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Radhe Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Sri Radhe Hare 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 Sri Krishna Hare 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 Sri Krishna Jai Radhe Jai Radhe Radhe Jai Radhe Jai Sri Radhe Jai Krishna Krishna Jai Krishna Jai Sri Krishna Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna. Welcome again to our evening katha. We hope you're all well and safe and increasing your sadhana in these difficult times, and you're all here to increase your hearing of Hari Katha. So today we're going to go to Barsana. First we'll tell something about this song, because this is written by a great acharya in Nimbarka Sampradaya called Hari Vyasdev Acharya. Although he always signs his name as Hari Priya, just like in the last name Hari Priya, Swamini Sri Radhe. One time, Giriraj Maharaj told us this story, that one time when Prabhupada was in Bombay in 1977 near the end, some group called Radha Madhav Sankirtan Mandal came to the temporary temple to do 12-hour kirtan. And they were all doing nice kirtan. Prabhupada was very pleased. In fact, he said, you tell them they just move in here, we'll make places for them to stay, we'll even marry their children, just stay here and chant for Radha Ras Bihari. Such amazing kirtan was there. So, but they all wanted to see Prabhupada, but Prabhupada was too ill to come down. So finally they made it that Prabhupada would come out to the balcony. So Giriraj Maharaj helped Prabhupada to the balcony, and all the devotees from Radha Madhav Sankirtan Mandal were very happy to get Prabhupada's darshan. Then later in the afternoon, one lady began singing this song, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe. And Giriraj looked over, and as she was singing this song, tears were pouring down Srila Prabhupada's face. Tears were just pouring down Prabhupada's face. So this is a very special song. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Saparandigam Aradhanasranandan Daivridam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dhalisyam Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So there's three very important hills in Braj. One, of course, we were just at yesterday, Giriraj. Oh, Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Other is Nandagam. Now Giriraj is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, Nandagam is the incarnation of Lord Shiva, and Barsana is the incarnation of Lord Brahma. We call Brahma Parvat. Now those of you who know Hindi, you know the meaning of Barsa. Barsa means rain. And to rain means Barsana, but when we add an extra syllable, Barsana means to cause it to rain. Just like sometimes clouds are there in the sky and everything, but still no rain is falling. Because certain conditions must be there. Just like especially the trees are very important. They make a special gas that goes up and reacts with the clouds and causes the rain to fall. We always thought that there was no trees in the desert because there's no rain to drink the water. But Prabhupada explained to us, because there's no trees in the desert, there's no rain. So here, not ordinary rain is falling, rain of Krishna, Prema is falling. Because this is the living place of Srimati Radhika. Morning place is on the other side of the Jamuna. One day we'll go there to Raval. But just like Nanda Baba moved to Nandagam, so Brisabhanu, same time, he was a good friend with Nanda Baba, he moved here to Barsana. So Barsana is living place of Srimati Radharani. And as we go around the Prikrama path, we're going to see the whole place is sprinkled with so many wonderful pastimes. Just sprinkled with wonderful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So we'll start off on the Prikrama path. On one side we see very large hill with a big temple, Jaipur temple on the top on our right side. The left side is another beautiful hill, so many beautiful dungar trees just hanging over the Prikrama path. And the Prikrama path winds up in between these two hills. It's a very enchanting path. In fact, especially in rainy season when everything is very green, it doesn't look like part of this material world. In fact, if we go down this enchanting curved little path under the dungar trees, I don't know if we'll ever come back. So if you're not sure, you can turn off the TV now, whatever device you have now. Otherwise, I don't know if we'll ever come back. Otherwise, if we're ready to go, then we'll go down this very sweet path. We may never come back. So eventually, we come to a very narrow pass where these two hills meet. One side is Barsana Hill, one side is the hill of Bilasgarh. Now Krishna, he cannot live very far from Srimati Radharani, so he's incarnated as this hill of Bilasgarh. Those who have been on Prikrama with me, you have seen practically all the rocks on the left side of the pass are blackish, because that is incarnation of Krishna. And on the other side, this hill is incarnation of Lord Brahma. You may remember from the Brahma Vimohan Leela, when Brahma came back and saw the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was totally bewildered and he fell down just like a golden stick. So the complexion of Lord Brahma is golden. So we see, those who've been on Prikrama, you've seen all the rocks on this side of the pass are golden, yellowish color. And where they meet makes narrow pass we call Sankari Core. On the other side of that narrow pass is a village, a little small village called Chiksoli. Chiksoli. Chiksoli is the village of Chitralekha Sakhi, one of the Astasakis, Chitralekha. And a very beautiful little village. And Chiksoli is famous for butter, milk, yogurt, ghee, all these nice milk products. So every day Radharani and her Sakhis, they go through this narrow pass to Chiksoli, and in clay pots they collect all this buttermilk, ghee, paneer, yogurt, and then they come back through that pass. Now, Nandanandan, he was herding his cows nearby because he knows Radharani's gone through that narrow pass. So he comes there, and with his coward stick, he's blocking the path. And Radharani's coming with this big pot of yogurt on her head. And we were just singing this beautiful song. One of the lines is Hansa Gamani. Gamani means manner of walking. Gaman. And Hans means swan. Now somehow or other, I've lived in India for 35 years. I've never seen actually now it's April, so now it's 36 years. I've never seen a swan. I've seen ducks, I've seen geese, I've seen so many things, but I never saw a swan. So maybe you've never seen a swan walking. We saw swans. Where did we see swans? When we went to Zurich in Switzerland, where all the money that Modi wants to get back to India is hiding. When we do Sankirtan on the lake, so many swans are there. So maybe you've never seen a swan walking, but they walk like this. So Radharani's coming with this big heavy pot on her head. Hansa Gamani, just like a swan. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he describes the ankle bells of Srimati Radhika. Their sound is just like a spray, not a spray, but a mist of tiny, tiny nectar droplets being sprinkled on all beings moving and not moving. Ching, 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 ching. So she's coming through the pass, and Krishna is blocking the pass with a stick because it's very narrow. Only one person at a time can go. And Radharani says, let us through. And Krishna said, Are, you girls are making a big profit selling all this butter, milk and yogurt. You don't give any tax to your king. And Radharani says, here my father is the king. We don't have to give tax to anyone. So then Madhumangal becomes the advocate for Krishna, and Lalita Sakhi becomes the advocate for Radharani. And Madhumangal says, now wait a minute. Vrishabhanu may be the king of here, but the king of the whole of Braj is Nanda Baba, so you have to give tax. And Lalita Sakhi says, just see the impudence. Just see how puffed up. You guys were living over there in Gokul with your little friend here. He created so much trouble stealing butter, milk and yogurt. Everybody went to King Kamsa. King Kamsa came with 100 cavalry soldiers. You fled away from that place. You crossed over the Jamuna to this side. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj, out of the kindness of his heart, he gave a tiny corner of his kingdom for you guys to stay. And now you're claiming to be the kings of the whole place. Just see the impudence. Madhumangal says, now wait a minute, where did you get this story? We never heard this story before. We're going to the GBC. You're preaching deviant philosophy. Nanda Baba is the king of the whole of Braj, and you have to give tax, and for every argument that you girls make, we're going to double the tax. Yeah, and you guys, you're taking your cows everywhere, eating all the grass. You should give tax for that. And Madhumangal says, all right, now we're going to double the tax. Not only that, you girls are picking all the flowers. We're going to tax you for that too. In this way, the two advocates are making the arguments back and forth and back and forth. And they're just little children. Radharani's very tired of holding this pot on her head. So she gives a little push to Nandanandan. Now, you know, when a little boy is offended, because they're just like little children, she gives him push like that, then it's just like an atomic bomb goes off in the heart. And Nandanandan, he grabs that pot off of Radharani's head. Now Radharani, she grabs the other side of that pot and she crosses her eyebrows and staring at Nandanandan. Now we just described what happens when little boys get angry. When little girls get angry, we're afraid to describe what happens. She's crossing her eyebrows, shooting darts at Krishna. And then they start a big push of war in this narrow pass. And all the Sakhas get behind Krishna, and all the Sakhis get behind Radharani, and up and down the pass, up and down the pass. A big push of war is going on. Finally, Radharani screams, and all the Sakhis begin to push, and push, and push. And Krishna sees they're going to break through to the other side. There's a big stone there. He takes that pot of yogurt and pow! He smashes it on that stone. Now you know that yogurt is a little greasy. Now this pastime happened 5,000 years ago. But those who have been on Prikrama with me, you've seen the grease stain, all the yogurt dripping down the sides of that stone. That grease stain is still there from 5,000 years ago. Sri Radha Krishna ki jai. So this is Sankari Kaur. Now we're going to go through this narrow pass, and undoubtedly there's so many cowherd boys also to take tax from us. You won't get through without giving tax. And you'll see what fun it is just to climb through this alone. Just imagine what fun it is to have a push of war through this pass. And get your rupees ready to give tax to the little boys who are trying to stop us from going through. So we finally come through to the other side. There's a little covered area. And every year on the Trayodasi day, after Radhastami, Radhastami is on Astami, then from Astami all the way up to Purnima, all around Braj, different leelas take place. All the different troops come and do their leela, and everybody gathers. So on Trayodasi day, everybody comes from Nandagam. In Nandagam, only sweet you'll find is jalebis. Everybody eats their belly full of jalebis, and they all come to Barsana. And you'll be amazed, we're out in the middle of nowhere, but not 1 cubic inch is free. People are everywhere on both sides of the hills, both sides of the path. And Dan Bihari is there with his Leela group, these boys dressed up like Radha and Krishna and the Sakhis. And he's singing, and the Sakhis are giving gulcha. Gulcha means they punch him in the face like that. And he chases them with his big silver stick. And they're singing this song, old Brijbazi songs about this pastime. Then finally the residents of Chiksoli, they rip up tree branches and bushes, and they take Radha and Krishna on their shoulders, and they take that big pot, and they go through the pass to the stone, they smash that pot on the stone, and then there's a secret path, everybody goes up to the main Sriji Mandir, and there's big pool bungalow is there, flower palace. So this is a little platform just before we get to Chiksoli. Now to go through the village of Chiksoli, we asked all the devotees have a nice kirtan to enliven all the residents of Chitraleka's village. We're just about halfway through the village, we run into the house of my dear friend Nandalal Sharma. And his mother, she will never let me get by without taking some nice Brijbasi rotis made like this. So we'll distribute Brijbasi rotis to everybody, a little bit of Braj sag, everybody take some, and then we'll continue through Chiksoli. And we come out to an opening, it's like a parking lot. When we look up on top of the hill, we see there's a small tiny temple, it has some sort of decorations on it. This place is known as Mor Kutir. Now many of you don't know the meaning of more. Oh yeah, when you want extra prasadam. No. More means peacock. And you can see there on this tiny shrine on top of the hill, there's all types of peacock decorations. All little cement peacocks are there all around the top of the building. This is Mor Kutir. What happened was one time Krishna saw that on top of the hill, Radharani and the Sakhis were watching something. So he came there and he saw they were watching the dancing of the peacock. So then Krishna, he began to dance just like a peacock. And peacock was dancing and Krishna was dancing. Peacock was dancing and Krishna was dancing. Then he came before Srimati Radhika and she said, "You dance very nicely. But this peacock dances nicer than you." So then again Krishna was dancing like peacock, and peacock was dancing, and Krishna was dancing, peacock was dancing, Krishna was dancing. Then again came before Srimati Radhika. And she said, "That was very nice. That was much better. But this peacock dances nicer than you." So then Radharani became Morni. If Mor is peacock, Morni means peahen. And Radha and Krishna began to dance as Mor and Morni. So we see, we climb the top of the hill, we see in the little shrine there, beautiful painting of Radha and Krishna dancing as Mor and Morni. This was painted by a saint from Nimbarka Sampradaya. Just like we know there's 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas. One of them is Nimbarka. From Nimbarka Sampradaya, Mahaprabhu took the worship of Radha and Krishna. Because they're the Ananya Bhaks of Radha and Krishna. From here we look around, we can see the whole Brajadam from the windows of Moor Kutir. And as we told yesterday, this Brajadam is not part of the material world. From here we get beautiful view of all the fields and all the greenery. You can see it's not part of this material world. In fact, Brajadam is such a place, every man, woman, bird, bee, insect, everything has got some service to do in Radha and Krishna's Leela. So immediately somebody will ask, what about snakes, black snakes, cobras? Just like sometimes in our Goshala here, cobras coming out. So one time, Krishna was too fresh with Radharani. And she became angry with him. And she just fled away from that place. And Krishna was running down the path behind her, but she was just flying down the path. He couldn't catch her. As she was running down the path, coming from the opposite direction, big black snake was coming. And that black snake, he took one look at this little girl that was about to trample on top of him, and he stood up and went, shh, like that, and Radharani screamed and ran back into the arms of Sri Nandanandan. So like that, even black snake has got something to do in Krishna. This is such a wonderful place. So we come back down the hill. Halfway down the hill, if you know where it is, you can see the footprints of Srimati Radharani. There used to be a nice old Baba named Nimarki Baba, but now he's gone back to the spiritual world. So now you have to ask everybody for Tulsi Baba's place. Very nice fellow is there, Tulsi Baba. And you can get darshan of the stone, you can see very clearly, he worships it very beautifully. Radharani's beautiful lotus footprints just appearing in the stone, melted from Radharani stepping on it. Then we go back down the hill, we find we turn to the right and go up some stairs, we find a little kund. Very deep on side, many steps going down. And beautiful peepal trees are there with so many beehives, at least 10 or 12 beehives hanging from the tree, hanging from the rafters of the buildings all around. So many beehives, so many, peepal trees, right? When Krishna saw a peepal tree, he said, Maya, Are Maya, what kind of tree is this whose leaf has got a tail? Ye kain ki pehe, jiske patti ke punche Maya. And Mother Yasoda looked and said, Lala, this is peepal tree. Ashvata, we read in Bhagavad Gita about Ashvata. Just like in front of Prabhupada Samadhi, you see the leaf, it's shaped like a heart, and comes down to a little punch. It's like we were in Punchari yesterday, punch, tail. And as soon as there's a little bit of breeze in the air, they begin to move. And these trees are very special for the environment. Because ordinary trees, we learn in our botany class, they give oxygen in the daytime and carbon dioxide in the nighttime. But peepal trees, and banyan trees for that matter, they give off oxygen 24/7, very special trees. In fact, in Los Angeles, outside the BBT building, they have beautiful peepal tree just growing up very nicely. When they're small, they have big leaves. It's got big leaves like this. So many peepal trees hanging over. And we'll see the monkeys climbing up and running around on a branch and diving into the kund. So many monkeys are here. So this is known as Krishna Kund, also sometimes Radha Sarovar. What happened, Krishna came there with his friends one time, and there was no water for his cows. So he took his flute and he dug out this kund with his flute. So Krishna's flute is very handy. We heard in Tirkanam how he's calling cows, he's calling gopis, he's calling cowherd boys. And here we find he's dugging kun. One day we'll go to Bandirvan, he dug a well. Very handy, very practical flute of Krishna. So this is Krishna kun. And here we'll see the asan of Madhumangal. As we heard that Chiksoli is famous for butter, milk, ghee and all these nice milk products. So we know that Krishna, he too much likes, yes, you guessed it, butter. So one time he came with all his friends to Chiksoli and was looking from house to house to find one house where no gopi was home. So they were peeking through the window. They found one house, no gopi was home. So they came inside. Because even today I've been to villages where nobody bothers to put lock. We live in big cities like New York. We think we're very fortunate, but we're so much afraid. First of all, when you go to New York, you can't even get into the building. You have to find the button next to your friend's apartment number and you push it and then a little voice comes, who's there, and you identify yourself. Then you hear this horrible noise. And as long as that noise is going on, you can open the door and get in the building. Then you go up to the 34th floor, you find your friend's building door number, you press the button, and then there's a little piece of glass. Suddenly that glass becomes a little dark as he looks out and says, who's out there? And then you can hear about 4 or 5 locks. People live in such fear. But in the village, there's no fear. So no lock. So Krishna and the cowherd boys, they came inside and began to drink all the yogurt and eat all of the butter. That gopi came home, she heard some noise from her window, so she peeked inside the window and saw what was going on. So she went around to the front door. Now in India you've seen, we never have one door, we always have 2 doors like this. And there's a bolt on the outside and there's a bolt on the inside. So she put the bolt from the outside. Means who's ever inside, now he can't get outside. And she ran to call all the other gopis. So Krishna, he also heard that sound. He knows the meaning of that sound. He looked around, he went out the window. So all the cowherd boys, they all ran and they climbed up and they jumped out the window. Ping, 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 ping. But Madhumangal, first of all, Madhumangal, he's lame. He couldn't run. He couldn't climb. Anyway, anyhow, he got to the window. But the other problem is Madhumangal, although he's one of Krishna's sakhas, he's one of his friends, he's not a gopa, he's a Brahmin. And our Braj Brahmins don't tend to be very skinny fellows. If you want to do Brahmin Bhojan in Braj, you have to put 10 deshi ghee laddus on the plate before they'll even sit down. I'm not true Braj, I can eat 2 or 3. But they won't even sit on the plate. What to speak of puri and saag and everything, 10 deshi ghee laddus have to be there. So Madhumangal, he's famous for eating so many sweets, so he's very fat. Anyway, anyhow, he got to the window, but when he tried to go through the window, he got stuck. So all the gopis came, they opened the door, they came inside, we got you. And nobody's there. Just this fat friend of Nandanandan stuck in the window. So they pulled him out of the window. Boop! Then they took flower garlands and tied his hand behind his back. Then they tied a string around his sika. And they threw it over the branch of the tree and said, now we got hostage. You thought this hostage taking was something new. This has been going on since last 5,000 years. And when you have a hostage, then you have some demand. So the gopis, they threw that string over the branch of the tree and then they pulled on that string. So call your friend Krishna here. Ooh, Kanaya! Ooh, Kana! Ooh, Kanaya! So Krishna, he heard his friend Madhumangal crying. So he came running. And he saw what was going on. He became very upset. Are! What have you girls done? This Madhumangal, he may be one of my sakhas, but he's not a gopa, he's a Brahman. Now you done Brahman aparad. Now your health, your wealth, your beauty, everything will be finished. Now what do little girls worry about? Health and wealth and beauty. So they all became very frightened. Oh Nandan, Sham Sundar, what can we do? How we can get free from this aparad? So Krishna said, what you do is you make a nice asan for Madhumangal. And you go to your houses, you find out as many laddus as you have in your house. You bring all those laddus, you feed them to Madhumangal, he'll forget all about the aparad, he will give you ashirvad, blessing. So they made a nice asan for Madhumangal, we see under the tree. And they ran to their homes, they brought back as many laddus, they began to feed those laddus to Madhumangal. He forgot all about the aparad, he gave them all ashirvad. Whatever was their manu kamana. Manu kamana means the dearmost desire within the heart. And what is the dearmost desire in the heart of all the gopis? That somehow Nandan become pleased with them. And that is Krishna consciousness in a nutshell. Everything we're doing is so that Krishna will become pleased with us. We chant our rounds, we follow the regular principles, we go to the temple, just so Krishna will become pleased with us. We offer all our food to Krishna, we associate with devotees, we go to Mangalarti, at least on Janmashtami and Gaur Purnima. What do we do all these things for? So Krishna will become pleased with. That is Krishna consciousness. You just think whenever you're doing anything, am I doing this so that Krishna will become pleased with me? Or am I doing this so that my senses will become pleased? Then you're always in Krishna consciousness. Simple. We make it simple. Or we make it complicated, but it's actually simple. So now Madhumangal's belly is full of laddus. He's very happy. He won't see your gun or avagun. What is your qualification or disqualification? Whatever benediction you want from Madhumangal, now you take. Sri Madhumangal ki jai. After we take Achman and take some water on our head from Krishna Kund, then we enter a beautiful kunj on the backside of Barsana hill. And to our left side we see a big archway and big long staircase. We go all the way up this staircase, we come to a place, and because just like Lord Brahma's got 4 heads, this hill has got 4 peaks. So one is Morkutir, other one is called Man Mandir. Now Man with a long A means you take a little anger and some pride and some coquettishness and some crocodile tears and you mix it all together like an artist, then you get Man. When Radharani is upset with Krishna, she does Man. So what happened was Radharani was on top of that hill with Krishna and it was full moon night. And Krishna was describing the beauty of Srimati Radhika. And he told that her complexion was just as beautiful as the full moon. And Radharani became furious. Why she became furious? Because Krishna was describing her complexion with something with so many imperfections. You have seen the moon at night, he's got so many spots. Actually, moon has got 5 faults, panch dosh. First, we just mentioned kalank, he's got spots. Second is kai, he shrinks. Third is banke, he's crooked. It's like we say, oh, banke bihari lal ki jai, he's crooked. Fourth is nisachar. Nisachar means who comes out at night. So who comes out at night? Rakshas. And when does the moon come? Nighttime, like a Rakshas. And if that wasn't enough, then fifth fault is Bandhu. Now, our devotee friends, they name their children Bisvambar, Bisvajit, Visvanath, Visvajivan, so many names like that. And what do all their friends call them? Hey, Bish! Now those who know Hindi, you know Bish means poison. I'm always embarrassed here in Burns. They call it, hey Bish, and all the villagers look around, what was that? People always ask me what to name their children. I said, don't worry about what to name them. Worry about what their friends are going to call them. So Vish means poison. Vishabandhu, like Deena Bandhu. Bandhu we know means relative. So when they churn the ocean of milk, this nectar came, this Uchaisrava came, Airavata came, so many things came, poison also came, and moon also came from the churning of the ocean of milk. So he's a relative of the poison, Vishabandhu. And if that wasn't enough, what do we call the moon in Sanskrit? Chandra, right? Sounds just like one of Radharani's competitors' names. What did you say? Shh! So, for all these reasons, Radharani became furious and she ran away from that place. And Krishna was left there lamenting. Hearing Krishna's lamentation, even the rocks began to melt. After some time, Radharani returned, but she was dressed up just like Krishna. And Krishna looked and said, hey, who are you? And Radharani said, I'm Krishna, who are you? And Krishna said, I'm Krishna, who are you? And Radharani said, I'm the real Krishna, who are you? He said, I'm the real Krishna, you're counterfeit. He said, no, you're the counterfeit, I'm the real Krishna. Acha? Then Radharani said, if you're the real Krishna, then where's your Srimati Radhika? Where's your Srimati Radhika? The Krishna took his flute, I'll play my flute, she'll come, you'll see. He played on his flute. No Radharani appeared. Second time he played on his flute. No Radharani. Third time he played so enchanting melody on his flute, Radharani can no longer maintain her disguise. And when Krishna opened his eyes, he saw Radharani standing right in front of me. So he grabbed Radharani's hand and they ran off together to Unchagaon to see if Lalita Sakhi can tell. Unchagaon is the village of Lalita Sakhi. Lalita can tell who is Radha and who is Krishna. Sri Sri Radha Krishna ki jai. So it's getting late. I think we'll have to continue our Prikrama tomorrow, if that's all right with all of you. And there's so many, as I said, this place is sprinkled with so many wonderful pastimes. So we'll continue tomorrow. We leave you here. We thank you very much for listening. We thank you for all your encouraging words. And also, again, please give your blessings on my dear Arjun, who comes here every day and sets everything up and makes sure it's all running all right and takes care of all the technical problems. So you give your blessings to Arjun, and we'll meet you here again tomorrow at 5:30, and we'll continue our Prikrama of the village of Srimati Radharani Barsana Dham. Sri Barsana Dham ki jai. How many people?
150.
150 of you today. All right. Thank you very much. Please be safe.